Welcome everybody to round 3 of the Vantage Sprint Touring Challenge, or the VSTC if you prefer to call it that. Regardless, I'm Aesop Purge, here live at Circuit Paul Ricard, and in just a moment we'll see the first few drivers head out on the track to begin a qualifying lap, and there you see already some drivers heading out. So let's waste no time. Let's see who's first out on track. You see here he is in the McLaren Stale 095 out first, with Abe in second, and I believe Sim Pacer coming out fourth, and Chief Dankeru. Those are your current drivers on track, all on a outlap as of now, so we'll focus back on them in here in just a moment. Well, Paul Ricard has, obviously, as you see right here, the very long back straight here. So all the cars that have the straight line speed, such as the BMW, will have the advantage down here. But to equalize it, as you see, we'll focus on Mike here, who is driving in a bit of a different car. We usually see him in the BMW. He is in the Mustang today. But you see how technical these turns are at Paul Ricard. So I guess that's a bit of an equalizer for when it comes to that long straight line. Almost like a drag strip, you could call it here. So it's a bit of an equalizer, all things considered. We're gonna focus back on, where is it? Right here. The 70, or the 67, my apologies. The 67 will be the first car to come around to set a lap here, on his out lap, of course. So we'll stay on him right here as he begins his hot lap, and we'll just go. We'll just kind of get a I guess an understanding of how technical this track can be, all things considered. So heading into turn 1, you see the heavy braking zone here. Gotta be careful not to overshoot or undershoot it here. It's crucial to get a good exit here. This pair of pretty tight turns here. Gotta be careful. This car loves to get out under you if you take these corners too aggressively. You can hear it. And then obviously now he's gonna head onto the long back straight here. Just back onto the replay cameras, of course, here. Down the straightaway. This is where a lot of these drivers in the slower, the cars that don't have better cornering will catch up. Like the BMW has excellent down or straight line speed here down the long strip. In practice, the fastest driver was, of course, last week's winner, White Doctor. Or no, last week's most laps led, White Doctor. He lagged out last week. Chief Dankeru was able to take home his first win in Assetto Corsa this year. We're just getting ready to complete his first hot lap here. Out of the final turn. To the line here. Style will set a 156 flat. Not too bad. We'll focus here on the 31 BMW here as he exits the final corner. You see Chief Dankeru sitting behind them. I don't know if he threw away that lap or if he's going to go for a second, considering he is in traffic. He does have the tow from the 31. 31 completes his lap of the 158. Chief Dankeru completes his lap of the 154. So Chief Dankeru is definitely going to be a threat today. White Doctor had set a 154.3 in practice. I'm not so sure what he'll set right now, as we're on board with him. I believe he is in the middle of a lap too. Sitting just directly behind Chief Dankeru, as a matter of fact. As of now, Chief Dankeru sits on pole position. Oh, as I say that, wait a minute. was Chief's tank invalidated, or was Chief's lap? I think it might have been invalidated. He did go. He does have the fastest lap time on the track, but apparently it did not count. So your current pole sitter is BR in the Porsche. 083. In second, Mike Tyson. And a new manufacturer, of course. We've seen him in the BMW for countless races now. This will be his first, at least the first time I've seen him in a Mustang here. And I gotta admit, I honestly love the Mustang. That thing looks beautiful. Sounds beautiful too. And now he sits second on time. But he doesn't have too fast of a lap here. It's like everybody who has gone out for a lap has somewhat invalidated, other than the two. Let's see what Chief Danker sets here. Is he going to set a good lap? Up a second and a half on what was apparently his last lap time. He's going to set a 155. Speaking of BMWs, we were talking about BMWs having the straight line speed down that long drag strip, almost like a drag strip. We're gonna focus on the BMW here, the one manufacturer we've been saying kind of struggles in the corners, but has excellent straight line speed. So we'll go on a lap here with Sim Pacer, who is of course in the BMW. He was actually challenging for the lead last week too for a bit at the Red Bull Ring. So you see the technical turns are not the BMW strong suit. The car is kind of a little heavy for these corners. So it takes, it's pretty hard to get a good approach in the BMW, but now we're going to see where it's going to come into a big effect here. Down the long straightaway, we're going to go on board here. Both BMWs, actually, as a matter of fact. Both Abe and Sim Pacer down the straightaway. Would have been a great tow for Abe, but you saw just a second ago he went wide and went off track, so I assume his lap is going to be invalidated here. Gotta stay within the track limits in these qualifying sessions, along with the race sessions, of course. So Sim Pacer up about 2/10 on his best time apparently. So that would put him, if the graphic is right, that would put him at about a 155.3. As he exits the final corner, coming to the line, we'll see him set a 155.4. Abe set a 158.3. That lap did count too, so not too shabby. Especially if we're going wide out of the corner immediately following the long drag strip. Not too bad. Of course, in first position is Stale. Actually, no, it was BR in the Porsche. Stale is taking the pole position, the 154.6. I don't know how long that's going to stand here. Based on qualifying alone, Chief Danker should have pole position because he had set a 154.1. But he is currently in the pits too. You see it right there. Oh, he has set an official lap time. It is a 154.9. We did see a 154.1 out of him earlier, but the lap had been invalidated apparently. Where is the other fast one on the track? There he is, White Doctor in the 54 Honda, and he is. I don't know if he's on the lap or not. We'll stay with him. So if you're new to VSTC, it's a 15-minute qualifying session followed by an hour-long race here. So we'll have an hour's worth of racing here at Paul Ricard in about 5 minutes. So just in 5 minutes, we'll have a phenomenal race here. And based on qualifying times, it's going to be a pretty good one. This White Doctor sets himself up for a 154.7. That'll put him up in the second place. So Stale has pole position. I don't think he was here last week. Definitely making himself known today. He's only up a 10th on Doctor. I don't know. He's got to improve. Get himself a little bit of breathing room here. He's gonna come down the front stretch here. Is he gonna complete a lap? He's on a lap now too, right now. So we'll see if he can improve on his time here. Oh man, it's always a pleasure commentating while you're sick. I apologize for all the sniffles, sneezes, and coughs. I'll try and mute my mic for those. I'm also already messing up on my words. I'm not really too, it's hard to stay focused when you're trying to not sound sick, but I think you can tell, the audience can tell that I am pretty much sick. Very, very well sick. But down the long backstretch here. Alright, so just under 30 minutes left in qualifying here before the race. Apparently White Doctor actually takes pole while we were focused on Stow. Now Stow is going to be trying to get pole position back here. He's down 2 tenths almost. Oh, you see a little bit of a wiggle here out of the final turn. That's going to drop him another 10th here, so he's not going to improve on his time. So as of now, White Doctor sits on pole position with the 154.2. Again, I saw Chief Danker set a 154.1. So had he kept it clean, Chief Danker would have had pole position by another 10th here. As we have one off the track here, that's Mike Tyson. I don't know if he's just messing around. He's yeah, I think he's just doing burnouts. Yeah, he's just doing burnouts. Alright, well, it doesn't look like Chief Danker is going to go out for another lap. If he were, he had to have gone out maybe a second or two ago. So he will not attempt to go out for another lap here. He'll take position number 4, provisional pole, or provisional 4th here. We'll focus on BR. BR is in 5th. Will not elect to go out for another lap too. Well, 6th place. 6th place is also in the pits. 7th place in the pits. 8th place of Abe, the only car who could snatch a position from any of these guys ahead of him. With a minute left, so he's gonna have another chance to set a lap here, as he's gonna get loose and spin it sideways on the track. Is he just gonna bring it into the pits, or is he gonna try and attempt a lap here? We'll see. Looks like he's gonna attempt a lap here. I respect it. I mean, you have the chance. So let's see weekends up here. We only have 4 cars on the track with just a minute left in qualifying here. The 67 Estelle trying to get pole back. He sits 3rd. Birdzia also on the track still. Maybe he's trying to set a lap. So the 2 cars sitting 2nd and 3rd. The 67 and the 6 trying to steal pole position away from White Doctor. He was also on the track. So everybody in the top 3 is still on the track, along with Abe, who sits P8. Not too bad. That's a top 10. Regardless of how many drivers are still here, it's still a top 10. You got to applaud that. But he's trying to jump a few positions, maybe get himself inside the top 5 here. So he's up 7 tenths on his last lap, which is a 209. His best lap this session is a 158.350. So if he can improve, that'll be great here, because I think everybody's setting 155s or 156s. So as long as you're not too off the pace, it's not too bad here. Oh! And he goes off the track, and he's done with his qualifying efforts. Or no, Verzio will be the last one to complete his, or the first one to complete his final lap here. The line. It's going to be a 156 or 154.639. So that'll put him up a few tenths, but not enough to take pole. Stow to the line. No, that was White Doctor. White Doctor to the line. He's going to not improve. Takes the checkered flag. So your last car left on the track to qualifying is Stow. Stow needs to find around 4 tenths if he wants to have a chance at pole position here. He's up. He's in the green. But not by a tenth. He's less than a tenth to the good. He's gained a tenth now, but he needs to find at least 3 more tenths if he wants to have a chance at pole. He's going to have a phenomenal final turn here. Out of the final turn, the time's dropping. It's not going to happen. White Doctor is going to remain on pole. You see the gap between the top 4 is only less than a second, so that's not too bad here. But there's your starting lineup for today's 1-hour race here at Paul Ricard. As we have a 3-minute grace period, I guess you could call it, before we start here. So we'll be back here in about 3 minutes. Everybody getting their final preparations underway. So we'll be back here in just about 3 minutes. All right, with just 30 seconds left before the race begins here. Everybody dialed in, made their final preparations, final setup changes, final fuel, tire strategies. Obviously, in this race, we have one mandatory pit stop through this 1 hour race. 30-minute long pit window, if I recall. It's either 15 minutes or 30 seconds, or 30 minutes or 15 minutes. I forgot the two, but between that time frame is the allotted pit window. All right. You see them begin the pace. They obviously pace for the first 2 sets of corners here. Out of the final turn to the line. Get ready for 1 hour of straight endurance racing here at Paul Ricard. 54, White Doctor is going to lead him to the green flag here, with Stow leading him on the outside to the line here.
Green light, go, go, go.
To the air here for 1 hour of the circuit, Paul Ricard here. Heading into turn 1, this is going to be interesting. Clear him, but Stow's going to go into the outside, challenge into the inside. Not going to make it happen though. Doctor is going to get a great exit here, and will take the lead early. Oh, and he spins! And he's spun out! White Doctor from leader to wrecked. Oh my goodness. And another spinner, that's BR in the Porsche. We have had 2 spinners in the span of 2 corners. This is disastrous for White Doctor. 2 races in a row, he's had troubles on lap number 1. As now Stow is going to take position number 1 with Verzio. Following in suit, Sim Pacer using that BMW's straight line speed. Get side by side and potentially clear him. He is going to clear him. Sim Pacer moved up to 2nd place here. Verzio is not going to go down without a fight. See, Sim Pacer gets forced off of here. So we'll have to settle into 3rd place, but Chief Denkeru going to challenge for that position number 3 really quickly here. So as they come into the final set of turns, Chief going for a wide approach there on Sim Pacer. We've already had some lap 1 drama already. 2 races in a row, we've had some drama happen on the first lap. We've come to complete lap number 1 here. It's going to be Stale. He leads it in the McLaren, with Verzio and the Ferrari following in suit. Sim Pacer taking that final podium spot in the BMW. 3 different manufacturers inside the podium positions here. No drama as of now. Focus on Chief Denkeru here, who is behind. Ooh, you see Verzio have to take a wide approach to avoid making contact with the BMW. That's going to allow Chief to get onto the inside of him and take position number 3 away as they head into the long backstretch here. But I don't reckon he's going to catch Sim Pacer at all, as Sim Pacer has out straight line speed with the BMW. Verzio is actually using the draft to get side by side with Chief Denkeru, who's going to try and make a move on the inside here. Is he going to make it stick? He does. Clears him and takes position 3 back from Chief Denkeru. Battle on for P3 here. As Stow goes really wide, you see up ahead, he went really wide. That's going to allow Sim Pacer to close up the gap a little bit here. There's a battle between this for 3rd here. See, Chief Denkeru battling fellow Ferrari for Verzio, or at least was for a second here. Looks like he's going to lose a little bit of time to Verzio. See, White Doctor Man who started on pole has to make his way through the field here. Is Mike Tyson's going to let him through? I was expecting a little bit of a battle. I would love to see that Mustang at least put up a battle with someone. Speaking of battles, looks like Verzio's slowly closing in on Simpei. He's slowly reeling him in. These guys taking later break entries, approaches to the braking zone here. Doing everything they can. They just get a little bit of time. You see that does somewhat work as Verzio had closed about 2/10. I recall not too long ago the gap was 0.9, now it's 0.7, so we closed in 2/10 here. Down the long backstretch here. Everybody is pretty much all active on-track battles as of now. The closest battle you have forming is between the top three here. From Stout to Chief, second to fourth, separated by less than a second here. In the second, the gap to first is just over a second for these guys. Maybe not for Verzio. And then Simpacer, my apologies, Simpacer. Gap to the first place cars, just about a second and a half, maybe two. And Verzio is continuing to close the gap on Simpacer here. So battle brewing quickly here. That will allow for Stout to pull away once these two cars start battling. If these two, the BMW and the Ferrari start battling, what does Chief Danker do? Sitting not too far behind, does he join in on the battle, or does he use the advantage to just straight up pass him to? 2-for-1 special, perhaps. Closing in the gap still. Now that I imagine he's within draft range, he's going to try and close that gap even more. He was able to do it with Chief Danker. We saw it on lap 2, I believe. Put himself side by side and to take P3 back away from Chief Danker. He had it just momentarily. You see him continue to reel him in. It's less than half a second now. Just about 3/10 maybe. So as the battle ripens up here between a BMW and a Ferrari, we finally get to see some on-track action since lap number 1. Final turn, that gap between the BMW and Ferrari is almost non-existent anymore. A few handful of laps ago, it was almost a second. Now it is less than half a second. Chief Danker is only a second and a half back from these two. So once these two get into a battle, that's going to slow them up. And Chief Danker will be allowed to also join in on the fight. I can only imagine what's going to happen down the long backstretch here with Verzio right on the BMW's bumper. He used the slipstream to try and make a pass, maybe get side by side. He is definitely within striking range now. It's only a matter of how he's going to execute it. Let's see them heading down the long backstretch here to 84. Probably looking at his rearview mirror, wondering what that Ferrari is going to do. It just doesn't seem like that Ferrari has the straight line speed without the draft. that BMW we obviously mentioned does definitely have the advantage when it comes to long straight line speed. As Chief Denker goes off around. That's not the day you want to start with Chief Dankaroo. Won last week's race at the Red Bull Ring, and now he has fallen back to position 6. He's hoping that the battle between Simpacer and Bruzio would have allowed him to potentially challenge for P2. Now it looks like all hopes of that are dashed. Battles continuing to stay here. As that gap to Stahl has increased to nearly 3 seconds now, so he is definitely pulling away. White Doctor slowly making his way through the field. I think he was 7th. Now he's up into P5. Inside the top 5 now. He's starting to get a little aggressive here. He's going to try and do anything he can to get back within striking distance. But it's odd for him because the only time he catches is through the back straightaway, and that's with the slipstream helping him. But without that slipstream, you see the advantage the BMW has. Looks like there's going to be another battle brewing here in a few laps time with BR and White Doctor. White Doctor slowly closing in the gap to that Porsche, who sits P4 as of now. And then Chief Dankaroo, of course, after his spin, is in almost no man's land. He doesn't have any help from anywhere. Tough luck for Chief Dankaroo early on in the race, though. The gap is ever so increasing to 3 seconds here. It's still around 2.5 seconds, but each lap that passes, Stahl slowly increases that gap, maybe by 1/10 or so. But for now, there's really nothing going on around the track. Still, the closest battle is between the BMW and the Ferrari as of now. The gap to BR for White Doctor is over a second, just barely though. So this might be the new closest battle here. Perhaps see the overtake for the first time in a few laps here that wasn't caused by a spin. First on-track overtake. This White Doctor continues to try and do somewhat of a last to first effort here, if you can call it that. was your crank it up with White Doctor. While we were gone, actually just within the last 10 seconds, something happened to Verzio. Verzio was challenging for second place here and is now gone. He might have lagged out here, but he is not anywhere on the track, not anywhere in the pits. So a lot of pressure lifted from day before the BMW Sim Pacer here, knowing that he doesn't have to worry about any sort of on-track battles here for the oncoming moments. And while we're on the crank up, at least you'll see it here in a second, but that Porsche had increased the gap from 1.1 to 1.5, so 4/10 gain, but it looks like he might have had a slip up here. So now White Doctor is going to be within a second here now down the straightaway, the back straightaway that is. He's going to use that slipstream to try and close, and you see the Porsche doing everything he can to try and break the draft without weaving. He doesn't want to do excessive weaving because that will lose you more time than it will gain you. Now you see the 31 of Abe in the pits. Is he calling it a day or is he pitting? I think he's called it a day. We have two drivers out. I don't know what happened to Mr. Verzio here, but he is out too, I would assume. The 31 of Abe calling it a day. So you have dropped the field size to 6. Mike Tyson. Zip code of his own here. He's just going to go side. Nearest car to him is 12 seconds ahead. The closest cars we have on track right now is White Doctor and BR Sanseo. It's been kind of a game of checkers, or not checkers, a game of chess here between the two. It seems that every time Doctor closes in the gap, the Porsche somehow finds just a little bit of speed to close that gap up again. Gap closing in here, but every time, like I mentioned, every time we've seen White Doctor close up that gap to the Porsche ahead of him, it just seems like that Porsche always finds a way to pull up the gap again. But I don't think it's going to be the case here this time. He is right within striking distance down the straightaway with the slipstream. I think he's going to be able to make an overtake here. You see that Porsche doing everything he can to break the draft. It's not going to happen. There it goes, side by side to the right. The inside advantage here into the next set of turns, and he won't need it. He was going to clear him before the corner. White Doctor making his charge back to the lead as Sanseo is going to challenge again, but he's going to ultimately get up the position. Is he actually? No, wait a minute here. The 54 goes wide, and through goes that Porsche again. We've said it. I've said it. Every time White Doctor seems like he's going to have the advantage, it just seems like BR always has the final word in it as he takes the final position for the podium spots away from White Doctor. So this is a battle on track here for third place. As there you see, Verzio's back, so I think he might have had a internet issue here, so he's back in the race, but in dead last. This race is pretty much done for here. That has gotta hurt, knowing you had the chance to win here, and now you are relegated back to a lap car here. Always gotta hurt. Continue to focus on the battle for third place. But now the Porsche has help from the Ferrari up ahead, the lap car. So it's gonna be somewhat of a slipstream freight train here. No one's really gonna gain on anyone here. know I've mentioned it before, but round 1, Chief Denker finished 5th place. Round 2, he won. It looks like he's going to finish back in 5th place unless something drastic happens here again. It's just not really been Chief Denker's year. Yes, he did win the Friday Night Fenders Championship, but with only, I think it was 3 or 4 wins, I feel like a lot of people would make an argument about that. Although I definitely think he deserved it. He was one of, I think, the only drivers to have attended almost every single race. So I think just based on that alone, he obviously earned it because he had the dedication to obviously attend every race. But there are some people who are doubting him. They start with the letter N and end with a 0, but we will not go further into that. And then in his Formula America efforts, he has kind of earned the nickname Mr. Consistency, but for the wrong reasons. It seems that every time Chief Denker races in Formula America, he finishes 9th. So he's earning the name Mr. Consistency for all the wrong reasons here. As it's starting to somewhat transition over to Assetto Corsa. As he's going to finish what could be 5th place. He finished at round 1, finished 1st. He'll finish potentially 5th again here. But don't get me wrong, 5th place is still very impressive for road racing here. I think out of all the ACC races I've done in leagues, I've only finished in the top 5 maybe 3 times. It's a very competitive scene. Assetto Corsa is a very competitive scene, so I guess you could really chalk this up to be a better interpretation of Mr. Consistency for Chief Denker, the nickname. As 5th place, that's still a top 5. There's loads of people who have never. Oh no, did he get loose? It looked like he might have gotten loose. As I was saying, there's a lot of people who have really never earned a top 5 in Vantage. He's going to pass the lap car of White Doc? No, that's for position. What happened to White Doctor? White Doctor. While we were ranting on about Chief Denker, White Doctor has lost 4th place to Chief Denker. Let's compare their lap times. So you see White Doctor setting about 155, 156 fishes. Chief Denker's going to come into the pits. So is White Doctor. They're both going to come into the pits. That pit entry is very. I don't know about that. That was really risky. Look, there would be. I'm pretty sure there's an actual pit entry road in this track. You see, there's Versio, the lap car, up ahead, exiting the pits now. Oh, no, he's entering the pits. So 2nd and 3rd and 1st, all still out on track. The leader is miles ahead of the rest of the field here. Who's going to have the better pit stop here out of the 3? Obviously, one of them is a lap down, but still, that does mean a lot for on track. Chief Denker is going to get out first. As White Doctor and Versio are still within the pits. Now White Doctor is coming out of the pits, so a huge gap is going to increase or open up between Chief Denker and White Doctor as White Doctor's efforts to move back up into 1st. It becomes just a little more daunting now. See, maybe 2-3 corners separate them. The gap is 7 seconds, so there's really no one on track battling right now. White Doctor here. I feel like he could get it done. If anyone, he could get it done. So it's gonna be a struggle to try and get Mike Tyson back in. No, Mike Tyson. White Doctor back in contention. 30 slowly closing the gap. But obviously there are corner differences as Chief was in a braking zone while White Doctor was in a flat out zone. So I think the gap is relatively still around 7 seconds, give or take. focus actually quickly on pit cycles. As Mike Tyson is into pit. So is Sim Pacer. Sim Pacer is into the pits here. So only 2 drivers who have not completed a stop on track so far are the top 2. McLaren and the Porsche have not completed a stop. Mike Tyson just coming in for a stop. And that will shuffle him back into his respective position. You see White Doctor and Chief Dinker both overtaken now. When did we see the leader come into the pits? 10 minutes already 10 minutes left in the pit window. Right in the final corners here, we're going to focus in on the leader just to see if he makes his stop yet. No, he'll let us stay out for one more time. What about the Porsche here? As he rounds the final turn, is he going to come into pit or is he going to stay out one more time too? He will also stay out again too. And as we've mentioned, that gap between Chief Dinkaroo and White Doctor is slowly closing up. Speaking of gaps though, the gap between Sim Pacer and Chief Dinker is only a second and a half. So the overcut not working for Sim Pacer here. He's going to potentially lose a podium spot here as Chief Dinker continues to close in the gap here. So the undercut was seemingly the right call here as Chief Dinkaroo did elect to go for an undercut compared to Sim Pacer. As look at the gap now, it's less than a second here. This is definitely working out for Chief Dinkaroo. I don't want to focus away from this battle because every time I do focus away from the battle, something always interesting happens, but the leaders might be coming around for the pits. But we'll see. As Chief Dinkaroo is going to be right on the bumper, just about actually. No, maybe about 3 car lengths separate them. A little bit of an exaggeration here. But that slipstream helping Chief Dinkaroo stay within range. He's actually starting to slowly close the gap here. Not going to be enough to make a challenge for a position here, but it's still good enough to keep himself within range of attempting a pass. A little bit of a wiggle from the BMW. It was wide. Closing more and more each corner, down to just about a 10th here. He's gonna be right on this bumper here. Is he gonna give him the bumper? That's a move that's a little more unseen in road racing, such as GT or endurance racing here, but it's still not out of the question entirely. I do expect these two to race each other more clean though, so I don't expect to see a bump and run. But Chief Dinkaroo is right on the bumper at the BMW.
We are at the halfway mark, still a long way to go.
With this battle going on, I'd like to mention, this battle between the BMW and the McLaren, or the Ferrari, that's allowing for White Doctor to close in that gap almost a second a lap here. So we'll potentially see ourselves with a 3-car battle on track here in just a few laps' time. Down the backstretch, Chief Danger is going to have the slipstream. Is he going to try and make a dive bump to the inside? The BMW goes defensive. Force him to go around the outside. Ooh. See that gap still closing in from White Doctor to these two. It was only about 4 seconds in the first sector. Now it's down to 3 seconds. So maybe a second or a half a lap maybe. This is certainly interesting. Out of the final turn. Oops, let me do that. There we go. Now the gap's less than 2.5 seconds, so White Doctor is definitely closing the gap with these two battling. Not something you want to see if you're any of these two. Speaking of gaps, top two still haven't pit yet, and there's only 5 minutes left in that pit window, so hopefully they can make a stop before then. I would assume it's going to be any lap. It's got to be. They got maybe 3 laps to try and complete one. Battle definitely shaping up here. I think Chief Danker is going to be close enough to try making a pass attempt down the backstretch here. Reeling him in. On the bumper, he's going to look to the outside here. Side by side for position 3. As that BMW is still playing the defense game here. Chief Danker gonna lunge it in, and around he goes! Around goes Chief Danker! Freshman comes to play here. Chief Danker goes around, trying to overtake Sim Pacer on the outside. He's gonna fall back to P5. My goodness. Chief Danker's race has gone from bad to worse. He spun early in the race to put himself back into 5th. He spins, he made contact. I don't know if the BMW spun him or if it was just two guys going for the same piece of real estate here. But Chief Danker has gone around again and falls back to P5. And what could have been a great 3-car battle we could have seen here is now down to 2 cars. And with how fast White Doctor's been, I don't expect that battle to last for long between the two. Half a second between the two. You see the 83 went to the stop. Made a stop. That's why he fell back so far. When does the 67 pit, if at all? It's got to be within the next 2 laps. I have to assume. Maybe this lap. I think this lap might be his last attempt. I want to focus, but this battle here is going to get real juicy. You see White Doctor going to try and challenge on the outside. Here he goes. Side by side with the BMW. The BMW is going to try and go defensive again. Last time we saw the BMW go defensive, we saw Chief Danker go around. Contact between the two as the BMW is going to not quite get cleared. And now he does. Is he going to try and dive it in though? No, he's not. He's going to play it safe. Oh, maybe not. White Doctor takes 2nd place away from Sim Pacer. As that battle is as good as over. Speaking of battles, on a completely unrelated note, your 1st place position car of Style? We're going to call him Style. Has just completed his mandatory stop. So everybody on track has completed their 1 mandatory pit stop here. With no threats of any penalties, disqualifications, any of that junk today. In terms of pits. White Doctor. 24 minutes left in this race, and the gap is 22 seconds. Now, I'm not saying that's possible. the speed with White Doctor is a little crazy. So we'll just have to wait and see what these final 23 laps have in store for us. So the pit window is about to close. Everybody's completed their stop. The gap to first is 21 seconds. Closing. I don't think he'll do it though. If he can do it, I'm gonna be that's about a second a lap. But from the looks of it, he's closing.
The window is now closed.
Half a second a lap, maybe a tenth, maybe a tenth or two. So I don't think it's gonna happen this race. I don't think we're gonna see any stellar comeback drive today. Although a comeback drive from White Doctor, if it were to theoretically happen today, would probably be one of the highest nominated comeback drive for the Vantage Awards at the end of the year. Coming from spinning on lap 1, which put you at dead last, to winning, that would definitely be a serious contender for comeback drive of the year. That gap doesn't seem to be closing or increasing that much, so I don't think we're going to see a comeback drive that will end in a win, of course. But regardless, it's still a pretty impressive drive to come back from last and finishing second. A battle right here. Hold on. Oh, that's not for an on-track position. It's a lap car at Versio trying to challenge third place Sim Pacer here. So all not a battle for position here. Still a great battle, but it doesn't look like Sim Pacer is going to put up too much of a fight. Drive right on through. Maybe not actually. Forces him wide. Versio gets side by side again. Going through. I think it's honestly better just to let Versio go through, because you see Sim Pacer battling the lap car is letting Chief Dinker close that gap and potentially put up a challenge for position 3, the final podium spot here. So if I'm Sim Pacer, I just let this guy go. I don't try and put up a fight. He's obviously faster somewhat. Did he just bump him wide? Oh my goodness. That was odd. I think Sim Pacer might have just implemented the bumping right here. Forcing Versio wide. So Versio's going to go ahead, and that'll allow Sim Pacer to at least have some room to run wide so we can try and put up a gap against Chief Dankaroo. The gap to Chief Dankaroo is only about 2.5 seconds, so he's got to be a little aggressive, but not too much to where it's going to start putting him at a disadvantage. Gap now down to 1.5 seconds. So Chief Dankaroo is definitely closing within 1 second a lap here. We'll see a battle on our hands here in just a few laps time. But the last time we saw these two battle together, we did see Chief Dankaroo go around, so I'm assuming Chief Dankaroo is not going to be too happy with Simpacer this time around. Not going to give him as much leeway as he was before. Might try and use a little bit of tactics to get around him rather than going around him. Maybe he might go through him. We'll just have to just wait and see here. Is this Chief Dankaroo going to have a chance to attack this time? I don't think so. About 1 second is the gap. I don't think it's going to be right here. Maybe next time around. So as you see, not going to be that time around, but he's closing the gap. Perhaps we'll see an overtake in the corner rather than on the straightaway. Last time we saw Chief Dankaroo try and make an attempt on a pass was that long backstretch. He's going to get under him. He's going to try and get under him. Not going to be able to get there in time though. So Simpacer are going to continue having the advantage. You see Chief Dankaroo trying everything he can to get under him, around him, just anywhere. He's side by side with him again. He's gonna try right here. He's gonna try going for an undercut. No, he's not gonna get there. He's gonna dive it in. This might be risky. Oh, and around they both go. I said it earlier in the lap. We said Chief Dankaroo is gonna definitely try and do something rather than getting him around him. He might go through him. Sends in the dive bomb. Doesn't work out for either of them. And it's going to most definitely harm Chief as that gap is now back to 1 second here at Paul Ricard. Chief Dankaroo going to be back on the attack here, down the long backstretch. He's closing him in. Not going to be able to make a pass on the entry to this next corner here. But I don't feel like the battle between these two is done. I don't believe they've gotten all their frustrations done together yet. So I feel like we're in store for at least one more incident. The Chief Dankaroo's going to try and send it in. He's going to get side by side. Is he going to finally overtake him? Yes, he does. Cleanly, I might add, too. Here comes a BMW. Not going to try and force it in. Battle for a second here. I think Chief Dankaroo is going to get the advantage and pull away here. It was a great battle for the time being there. We saw a little bit of contact, saw some great overtakes. And that final, or the battle is finally over here. It's going to go to Chief Dankaroo. Take 3 away from SimPacer. There's really no action on track now. Now that everybody's kind of put up a gap to each other. Kind of just smooth sailing from here. No, as long as no one self spins, looks like everybody's gonna finish in the positions they are currently in. So the 6 of Versio is back into the pits here. I don't know what happened here. I wonder if we'll see a challenge from BR here. BR only 6 seconds behind. Or is it 6 seconds? Yeah, 6 seconds just about behind SimPacer here. With 12 minutes left in the race, it's not out of the question, but it's going to be hard to close in that gap. So the field has completed 24 laps here at Circuit Paul Ricard. If you ever want to get an estimate at how long a 1 hour race here would be caution free, let's say it would be about 28, 29-ish laps maybe. As SimPacer is continuing to lose time. I don't know what happened. He had the speed early in the race. Now he just seems to have lost it all. As BR and the Porsche is going to close in. A lot of time. It was 6 seconds maybe on the final turn. Now it looks like it's going to be almost 3 seconds by the end of this lap. With the rate BR is closing in. Definitely see the gap closing. So SimPacer at risk of falling from what was second place maybe 10 laps ago, now to falling to 5th, a loss of 3 positions. Something has definitely got to be looked at before the next race for SimPacer. That's something's definitely wrong. Maybe his car wasn't set up for the short run. Maybe he had a bad strategy. We'll have to wait and see, as now BR is going to have a chance to take a shot within the next lap here. So the gap is less than a second now already. He's going to make an effort to take a pass. This is his next few turns. He also has that straightaway to try to make a pass. Is he going to try and undercut? Yes, he is. Be careful for the corner cut. He's going to get loose and spin out. But Sim Caser has also had a bad set of corners, so that's going to have to equalize him here. Wow. What would have normally been a race-ending move this late is going to be reduced to nothing because they both messed up. So now BR is going to have a chance to make another pass. Just look how much slower Sim Pacer is. He's already lost that 1 second lead he's had. Now it's within a second here. He's continuing to just lose it in the corners. I don't know what's wrong with BR. Maybe his tires are too warm to put up a fight. I don't know what's wrong. But he is off pace in terms of what we saw from him earlier. And especially with him heading down the back straightaway. It's going to be interesting. On board. To the outside. Side by side. Is it going to be much of a fight? Yes, it's going to be. Not really clear, so it's going to be coming into this next right-hander here. Had to overcorrect to avoid driving into him. The battle is on here for 4th position here, with only 6 minutes left in the race. The one should be inside. Can he make it stick? Side by side, out of the corner. And then as well goes to the Porsche. I think he's going to get him here. Got him. Through goes the Porsche into P4 as Sim Pacer continues to have a disastrous long run race, falling from 2nd to 5th here.
Alright man, leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can. The leader has finished the race.